Welcome to the Golden State Media Concepts Sex Podcast, a show that examines all aspects of sexuality, from physical to emotional to spiritual. Join our hosts as they discuss age-old questions, common misconceptions, and the latest topics surrounding sex. They'll tackle topics about sexuality from the complicated to the hilarious and everything in between. GSMC Sex Podcast is your show for all of your questions about sex, even some you might not have thought of yet.
Welcome, my honey little devils, to the Sex Podcast with your host, Andra, where the discussion is about sex from the point of view of an older woman. Today we're going to talk about vagina fun facts. And ladies, when it comes to sex, who's the leader? Our vagina. Now, there have been questions about the vagina. And we're going to go, we're going to talk about some of those little questions, which are fun facts. So, generally as a woman, the questions come with, how many inches can a woman feel? And it's generally on the male side is going to be asking us this question, but let's give some fun facts to that. Believe it or not, the depth of the vagina is between 3 and 7 inches. You got to remember, our vagina is an organ, and it is designed to accommodate childbirth. So we have the capacity where our uterus and vagina and stretches in order to give childbirth. Think about it. How can we do it and we have to accommodate for it because babies can be quite big and it would be very uncomfortable if we can't. So having that question of how deep or how could it accommodate what size penis? You got to look at it from the view of we are amazing. Women are amazing when it comes to our vagina because of the fact that we can carry babies and give childbirth right through the vagina. So you got to think about it that way. And then go back to its size. Although at times it's probably going to be through an exercise regimen, but nonetheless, it will shrink back down and you can get your muscles back in shape and everything. So that's one way of looking at it. Another question is, how or can a vagina be too tight? Well, now, as we age, ladies, our vagina can either get tighter or looser. So yes, our vagina changes over time and as we age. So there's what that comes in. So as we age, our vagina will get tight or it'll get loose, like I said. But generally, if you want to look at it the fun fact way, if our vagina is feeling too tight, it could be about the fact that we are not, as women, being fully aroused. Because when we are fully aroused, our vagina opens up to accept in the male counterpart. So you either keep, tell them, hey, you're not touching the spot. But that's one of the reasons why, and I just find that so interesting that it does have something to do with the fact that we are not being fully aroused sexually, so our vagina is not opening up, and it would feel tight. Now, mind you, I'm sure there's many men out there, they like it when it's tight because it encompasses their penis and gives them more of a friction effect or more of a, a rubbing effect. Friction sounds a little too hurtful, but more of like a nice snug fit, and men like that. And that might even explain why men are always the first person to want to grab some woman's, what do we call it? Cherry. Yeah, that's it. Her womanhood too. She's a virgin. They want to, be that first one because, it's at that stage where it hasn't had sex. So they want to feel that tightness. But as women, it generally will mean that we probably aren't fully aroused. So we need to either teach our partner what to do or do it ourselves, basically. Another fun fact and ways of looking at tightness of the vagina. It is also caused, the tightness, from hormonal changes when menstruating. So, although we're saying, ooh, gross, that is actually a turn on to some men or our partners having sex with us during our menstrual period because our uterus is, kind of contracting and getting ready to get everything of the old blood and all stuff like that. But there's also an element of tightness there in order for our vagina to push it all out. I mean, every woman's different, but that's one of the things, our hormones. And we, as women, our body is basically controlled by our hormones. So you gotta really work on those hormones. A lot of people actually like having sex when a woman's on her period, because I don't know if it's already because they feel it's already lubricated, or the fact that it's, during that time because of the hormones that it gets tight. Now, when we are, our vagina is really only 3 and 4 inches long when it's not aroused. So if you have a partner who's very well endowed, you need to find ways to become very aroused just to open that up and express it. Or if you want to keep not and you enjoy that, or you and your partner actually want to work until, your vagina becomes to the point where it can handle a longer penis. There are those men who, as they say, look at your hands and the feet of a man, and they're matching in the package. So that's also a fun way of, getting your vagina to open up, and, because you're working together and you're finding, your goal is, let's find new ways so that she can handle me. So you're going to be able, and one word you always get is, can you handle it? So it's something. So it's out there. It's in a minute, but I think there's a lot of us women out there who can relate to that. It is, let's see, another thing that we have regarding our lovely vagina. If you want, believe it or not, you can go to the doctor and tell him there are things out there that they can give you as well, but it's much more fun when you're alleviating that tightness because you're exploring your body. So that's one of the great things about it. But which is not, it allows you to view how your life is going and how you can alleviate things, because another fact is that stress causes a tightness in a woman's vagina. So if things are going stressful in your life, tend to when you're going to be tight there. So if you're thinking sex and stress and how can I relieve it, that might be one way to look at it. Let's alleviate some stress. It'll alleviate tightness, or become more stressed, have sex, and you may like it that way. That night's tightness, I'm sure he does. But those are, little fun facts, or little facts, shall I say, about our wonderful, lovely vagina. So take care of her, ladies. I'm going to take a break here, and when we come back to our next segment, I'm going to talk about fun facts of the penis. So keep your ears open.
Still on the search of that one true love? On the limbo in this crazy world of dating, marriage, relationships? Well, listen to the Golden State Media Concepts Relationship Podcast, your one-stop podcast for everything about relationships.
Welcome back, my horny little devils, to the Sex Podcast with your host, Andra, where the discussion is about sex from the point of view of an older woman. Now, in the last segment, we talked about our lovely vaginas, some fun facts, some facts, and this segment, we're going to talk about the penis and give some facts about lovely little penis, because men seem to think that they are indestructible. That's what guys are not. And generally, most of the time, you're thinking with the wrong head. But our partners love us. I love you, and we love you. So don't ever give up your love for your penis. Now, it's been a scary thing to say, or even to say this fact, because men will cringe, but you can break your penis, believe it or not. And most men are well aware of this, because that's why they are so sensitive down there. I mean, if you are really working in sex or masturbation, men, if you just twist your penis the wrong way while it is erect, you can definitely be a broken man down there. It has no bones, but the tubes fill with the blood. Your tubes fill with the blood during an erection, and that's where the broken part comes in, because they can burst. So think about how we're going to care about your penis. And it is a rare fact, but it can happen. And generally, a man will say, I broke my penis. It's not something they want to admit, but it does happen. Although ladies, it's not always them who could do it. It's us. If we're on top of them during sex and you are really going to town, swaying them hips back and forth, side to side, and you're in the groove of the moment. That bit of the violentness during sex could do it. It's not something that happens that often. They are durable because basically they are, the organ made to get hard and stand up at attention so that you can perform during sex. But it does happen. You can break the penis. Or, in a nice way of saying it, bend it. I'm giggling to myself here. Now, another fact, which generally, this particular fact, almost everybody already knows, that men have several nighttime erections. And they've given an average here where it's generally like 3 to 5 erections during a full night's sleep. And that erection, believe it or not, will last 25 to 35 minutes long. So ladies, if you're up, or partners there, depending on what it is, who you are, and you turn over and your man has got an erection, ever hear the saying, roll on top of it. Wakes him up, he's in it, he can relieve that dream. And he might like that happening several nights and several times during the night, believe it or not, because it's actually thinking. So he's already in the mood. Obviously not awake, but in the mood. Although it is common for men to wake up with an erection, which we all know that morning wake up call. And that's generally because most of us are sleeping when they're having that 3 to 5 in the middle of the night, and we're not even realizing it. But this is where the morning sex comes in. He's already hard and erect. So, again, if you're up, you see that, and you're, a woman, and you're wet already, or lubricated, just roll over on him. He won't mind, trust me. It's either that or he'll leave you in the bed sleeping, get up into the bathroom, and just stop masturbating. So, who's getting anything there? It's really weird because the idea or the knowledge of knowing that men have so many erections or nighttime erections like that, and they're sleeping, doctors or studies have found that this is actually, it's associated, shall I say, with the phase of sleep of REM, which is, most people know, but I will say REM is rapid eye movement, meaning you're in a deeper sleep. So it's your dreaming stage. So that doctors have associated all those nighttime erections with the dreams that we're having. I think most of us remember the first Ghostbusters movie and the ghost that comes over Ray in the middle of the night, and he just falls off the bed because he's in this dream and she's unzipping his pants. So think of it that way. It's a fun way to look at it. Now, I know I said in the last segment, they say, oh, look at a man's hand, look at a man's feet, and you can tell the size of their penis. Believe it or not, that's not really true. It is a myth. And unfortunately, hate to be, bust your bubble, man. But you can go around and flaunt those big feet and those big hands and what you're going to do with them. But it has not been proven that your penis matches the size. The average penis length in this group, or the group of people that were in a study to determine if that myth was true, where the feet or the hands determines the size of the penis, was actually only 5.1 inches. So if you were looking for the numbers up in the 9, sorry. If your feet are like 13 inches, most likely your penis is not. But, this study actually went on to state that when softly and gently stretched, the average, this was in Britain, by the way, shoe size was 9. So, if you're looking for it, you may be able, I doubt it, but your shoe size is not going to match your penis size. Although you are one of those blessed individuals, then we applaud you, Ben. Now another fact, and I laugh at this one, as you can see, is a question that they ask is, small penises make big erection. And believe it or not, it states, or it's been found that shorter penises increase more in length than longer ones when they become erect. So, is that question, does size matter, actually true? Well, if you're looking at the man when he's not erect and he looks small and you're getting upset at that, why don't you get him aroused first? Let him come to his full potential. Because that little tiny penis may just be your best friend in the end. Men love to measure their penis. And they'll be the first ones to tell you that they did. So it's not the size that matters. Because you may not be catching him on a good day. Let him impress you, ladies or partners. Let him impress you. For the facts regarding penises, we're going to take a break here. And then when we come back, I don't know, I'll think of something to talk about. Take care of that penis, man.
Tired of searching the vast jungle of podcasts? Now listen close and hear this out. There's a podcast network that covers just about everything that you've been searching. The Golden State Media Concepts Podcast Network is here. Nothing less than a podcast bliss with endless hours of podcast coverage. From news, sports, music, fashion, cooking, entertainment, fantasy, football, and so much more. So stop lurking around and go straight out to the Golden State Media Concepts Podcast Network. Guaranteed to fill that podcast itch. Whatever it may be. Visit us at www.gsmcpodcast.com. Follow us on Facebook and Twitter, and download us on iTunes, SoundCloud, and Google Play.
Back, my horny little devils, to the Sex Podcast with your host, Andra, where the topic is about sex from the point of view of an older woman. Now, in the last 2 segments, we talked about the lovely vagina and the massive penis. Here, we're going to talk about, in this segment, I know we've talked about how sex is really good for you, but it does have healthy benefits, believe it or not. Not only a very good exercise, where both of us are getting something out of it, but it actually is very healthy. I know a lot of people, oh, you're doing the dirty deed. Oh, you're oh no, you shouldn't be doing that. But think of it from the health point of view, and let's go. Now, besides our heart, we associate love and happiness to our hearts and how it makes us feel good. Romance can bring some positive health benefits. There's a lot of studies out there that have been done where it suggests that a loving relationship, physical touch, and sex do bring health benefits to each individual who partake in the lovely act of sex. Now, with your heart, it's very good for your heart because our heart is what? A muscle. And what do muscles like? Exercise. Yay! During sex, the sexual arousal sends the heart rate higher, and the number of beats per minute reaches its peak during an orgasm. So it's really working the muscles in the heart. It's giving it individualized exercise. Let's look at it that way. It also, that exercise for the heart and that pounding also depends on how vigorously you are in the act of sex, or how intense it is. It is actually found in studies that the average peak heart rate or at orgasm is the same as during light exercise, such as walking upstairs, believe it or not. So if you don't want to walk up those stairs one day, but you are feeling quite horny, take that exercise and have sex, because you just had exercise for two of you, either both of you. And especially if you're hitting that orgasm, or as we've spoken about before, the A spot. If most want to still refer to it as the G spot, go right ahead, but the A spot is the ultimate orgasm. I mean, granted, having sex is, healthy for your heart muscle and works that heart muscle. Take a break every so often and do walk those stairs just to maintain that. But yes, sex is very good for the heart. Sometimes I gotta laugh when I think about how sex is so related to good body function or good heart function and things of that nature, because with exercise being such a big force of nature, shall we say now, and life longevity is on the rise. This is another way of looking at it, and you don't have to be ashamed. And people are ashamed, some people aren't. So, and yes, you can have a heart attack during sex. I mean, if you're really going at it and you're hot, you are working that muscle. So, unfortunately, those are the downfalls. So find ways to work up that orgasm and work that, muscle, that heart muscle, so that you're getting that exercise in. It has, it's, on average, we should be getting at least 150 minutes of some moderate intensity aerobic activity. So sex is that aerobic activity. And I mean, the funny fact about it is if you're having 150 minutes of orgasm a week, you might want to try, cycling a really brisk walk or dancing in between to work you up for the next one. So having a heart problem doesn't hold you back. It it has been known to have, but you're giving individuals who haven't a heart issue this exercise of the heart muscle could be beneficial to you. So think about it in that way. Another thing that they like to say is that staying healthy, like a heart or your body, whereas like a hug keeps tension away. Because why? When you embrace someone and someone special that you care about, it lowers your blood pressure, your blood pressure. So that is a form of intimacy that is actually healthy for you. A lot of people are huggers. Not everybody is. But for you huggers out there, you're doing a good job. There are, those little things of holding the hands or touching and caressing slowly or just sitting there and just running a finger over your partner's hand while you're watching TV. Those little acts of intimacy or sexual behavior, if you want to look at it that way, are great because it helps to, at your rested state, or bring your partner down to its their resting state. It would lower your heart rate, lowers your blood pressure. And if you have a smaller heart, your rate increases, so you're building up that muscle again. So these benefits are little things that we never really look at and never really say, oh my God, all I did was this, or all I did was, touch your hand, or, give you a hug, or give you that small bit of silent emotional effect is so wicked and so beneficial. Similar effects have been found for non-sexual stroking. Although this appears to only reduce blood pressure in women who are stroked, unfortunately does not work in men. For the most part, when men are already up, their minds have shifted. So their portion of release is to have some sex or sit there with blue balls. One or the other, whichever you prefer. But for the most part, that little bit of intimacy or that little light touch or something along that line will actually spruce up your partner into the point where they'll probably want more. So, think healthy, vigorous sex, working that heart muscle. Hey, it equals the amount of stairs that you're going to walk, and you're having fun at it. So do it. The fact that sex could help you beat the stresses is another healthy fact. It's, like I said before, it is one of those things that works. There was a study where, participants kept a diary of sexual activity and recording the penetrative sex, non-penetrative sex, and masturbation. It showed that it actually reduced their stress levels so much. And they were feeling much better and healthier. So remember, those little things, we may talk about our vagina, we may talk about our penis, but those little silent things are the icing on the cake when it comes to our health. Just those little things comes to our health. We're working our heart. We're relieving stress. and all other little ways that you want to put that in there. So this is the end of my segment. So we are going to say goodbye for now. Remember, always take care of our bodies and practice safe sex.
You've been listening to the Golden State Media Concepts Sex Podcast, part of the GSMC Podcast Network. You can find this show and others like it at www.gsmcpodcast.com. Download our podcasts on iTunes, Stitcher, SoundCloud, Google Play, or anywhere you find podcasts. Just type in GSMC to find all of our shows from the GSMC Podcast Network. From sex and relationships to health and wellness, life and happiness, and even weird news. You can also follow us on Twitter and Facebook. Thank you, and we hope you have enjoyed today's episode of the Golden State Media Concepts Sex Podcast.